Did you see Metal Link, or did somebody see Metal Link? How's he going to get in? We are live. Conduct yourself accordingly. And I've got 1 minute till, Squires.
Carl, you going to start it out? It looks like on the agenda.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, Carl, it is 9 o'clock if you want to go ahead and get started, sir.
Okay. In accordance with KRS 61-823, KRS 61-286, Executive Order 2020-243, OAG 20-05, 2020 Senate Bill 150, and the March 31st, 2020 Attorney General Advisory, the Administrative and Budget Committee, and the Economic Development Committee of the Barron Fiscal Court will have a joint meeting beginning at 9 a.m. on Monday, January the 11th, to consider the following agenda. The meeting will take place via video teleconference. Due to the current public health situation, members of the public will not be allowed to attend. The meeting will be broadcast live on the Barron County, Kentucky Facebook page and/or the Barron County, Kentucky YouTube page. I'd like to call the meeting of the Economic Development Committee to order. I think the first thing I would like to do today is, in pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute 61-810, Section G, which reads discussions between a public agency and representative of a business entity and discussions concerning a specific proposal. If open discussions would jeopardize the retention, expansions, or upgrading of a business, I'd like to make a motion we go in closed session.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
If you put us in closed session, Tracy, please.
Yes, sir, will do.
You invite the other magistrates, Carl.
The other magistrates are all invited to attend too, please.
Carl, you haven't joined, sir. Just to let everybody know, they've gone into closed session. They will return shortly. When they do, we'll go back with live action. Until then, we're just gonna hang tight. Yes, ma'am.
Tracy, I've sent Matt a reminder. If you've got Matt Hunt's cell phone, do you mind to call him and remind him he's supposed to be in on this?
Yes, ma'am. I'll call him.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Or if you got a little miniature.
Be sure I got no response, but I did send him a text.
Goats, horses.
See, I want that cow.
Just to let y'all know, we're still in closed session. They'll be back shortly.
Red coffee mama. If you got a Red Bull, they're red. Usually.
Matt, welcome aboard. Just to let you know, we are recorded and we are YouTube live.
Okay.
And they're in closed session at this point in time, so they'll be back shortly.
All right, thank you.
Who knows?
And apparently I need to go into closed session with just to let you know, they're still in closed session. They'll be back shortly. just to let y'all know, they're still in closed session.
Okay, we have everybody back on, so we're make a motion when we come back into open session.
I second that, Carl.
Okay, since you and I are the only two, we're the quorum, I guess that passes. There was no action taken in our closed session, so I make a motion this committee meeting adjourned. Or do you have anything else, Mark? I'm sorry. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well, I make a motion to adjourn then.
Yes, sir. Second.
Okay, we're adjourned. Jeff, it's up to you. You're next on the agenda, old buddy.
You got that in there set up with me?
Yeah, it's still set up just like it was.
I can go in there.
Yeah.
He's on here. He's just muted. Squire Bots.
Okay, I think I'm on now. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Billy and Mark's on my committee. Are you all present and can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Jeff. Can you hear me?
I can now. Great.
All right,
Billy,
thank you.
can I get confrontation that you're on, Billy? Not heard from Billy. Tracy, how come I'm not hearing Billy?
He's muted. Billy, you're muted, sir.
I mean, as long as he's hearing us, if he don't want to talk, that's fine, but I'd like for him to be able to talk.
He's trying to talk, I believe. There you go. I believe now he's
I got
unmuted.
You on now, Billy?
Yes.
Okay, well, I just wanted you to make sure where you can talk if you have any comments. We're going to go down to the first line item on the health department taxing district. And if the judge is back on, I want to turn it over to him on what's that line item. And I know we met with them over a year ago and they.
And obviously you, the budget committee, know full well of what we contribute to the health department each year. I think that figure's somewhere around 678,000. And it seems like it grows more. If you look at the projection of retirement in full, we could be well over $1 million if the state decides to say, hey, we need you to be paying more. We done those calculations. That was before Denny left. And then I think Jenny had a little bit of knowledge of that. But so what I'm asking you today, and after the meetings that we just got out of, we really need, and the health department locally have voted to proceed with asking fiscal court to consider a taxing district. Now, we basically just write that check to them. What a taxing district would do, once that tax money is collected by the sheriff's office, they would just send it straight to the health department. Now, we're already spending tax money to fund this. So my proposal would be this. If we create a taxing district of 2.25, and I'm just throwing that figure out there, and we have Matt Hunt, who is our executive director, on today. I'd be willing for you guys, well, this is what I would do. This is what I would vote for. Currently, we're at 14.5 on our property tax. I'd be willing to lower that property tax to help compensate that 2.25. Because I believe if we're asking our citizens for another taxing district, we need to be able to start with ourselves first and say, hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to sacrifice. So, I just think that's fair. We're still the number 14 county in the state of Kentucky with the lowest taxes. But again, I go back to, we're already paying tax money to fund the health department. I know when we created an ambulance taxing district, the one thing that was said, well, it's not high enough. Well, I can tell you right now, I felt like it was where it needed to be, because now we have been able to stand on folks' toes and say, hey, this is all the money you're going to get. This is what you have to operate with. That's it. So, but it's turned out to be a good thing. With the taxing district for a health department, we are one of 4 counties, I believe, Matt, in the state of Kentucky that does not have a health department taxing district. And I believe all those counties are situated right here in the Brad area, but we are one of 4. And I think it's time. The health department, it's only going to get more as you go. I've had several conversations with Mike Buchanan about this. He said this is the one thing that you will never get ahead on if you don't create that taxing district. Again, it will free up some for us to do other things, but I think the key there is that we look at that property tax of 14.5 and we back off on that what we can. I don't know what the DLG will allow us, but I think we should back off on that to help compensate for a new taxing district. So, Matt, I want to turn this over to you, and whatever you'd like to let the committee know.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Judge Hale. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you all. I know we spoke last January to sort of start the conversation. The local Board of Health in Barron County is supportive of this move, and it sounds like it might be a revenue neutral, item for the folks in Barron County, perhaps. The other tax rates that we have a taxing district in Butler, Edmondson, Logan, and Warren counties, and that's worked out well. It's 2.5% in each of those counties. And then they send 2.25 directly to Barron River District. And, that's what I would probably advocate for, is the 2.5. If you all decide at 2.25, that's certainly okay. But let me explain that difference in the 2.5. That stays locally in the taxing district. So that 0.3% stays locally, again, local taxing district. You think about people get a 1% discount for paying their property taxes early. And you think about individuals not paying their tax bill. That reduces the amount available, but the amount coming to the health department remains the same. And so if you're not careful, you'll have a little bit of a gap there that will be short. So again, that's worked out well in Butler, Edmondson, Logan, and Warren counties. And as we mentioned last year, and Judge Hale mentioned, the contributions to health departments across the state, I suspect will increase, over the coming years. The current public health tax rate across the state, again, the average is 4.75. That was as of last January. So again, we're just at 2.25. Half of that. And so with the Kentucky retirement system increasing significantly, as we all know, I think it's just a matter of time before that rate does increase for the contribution to the retirement system. But I'd be glad to entertain any questions that you all might have. Again, I think it's a good way to have a firm funding stream for health departments for years to come.
Are you 4%? Is that the maximum raise you can put on tax every year, just like the counties, 4%?
Yeah, we're a little bit different. I know you all have the sort of a compensating rate and things like that.
Right.
We've been at 2.25 for several years. And I wouldn't suspect there'd be a significant increase, next year or anything like that. If you all implemented that, again, my recommendation would probably be at 2.5. So you have that little bit of buffer for non-delinquent and the 1% discount. And I would probably put that in line with the other counties in our district.
But you all would be able to raise taxes yourselves, is that correct, or does fiscal court have to raise it? Both of
It
them?
would go to the Board of Health in Barron County and then to fiscal court.
Fiscal court have to approve any tax increases you guys have?
We go to the fiscal court with anything that the local board approves, and then it goes through the fiscal court. And typically, it's been the same, so it's always been they've always approved it at the county level.
Well, I think, and Carl, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think what Carl's trying to say is if we don't approve with your tax increase, we can vote no in fiscal court, say, no, you're not going to increase your taxes. I think, and Carl, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what the ambulance service, we don't vote on theirs. They're tied to the 4% increase just like we are. And I didn't know if the health department was tied to that as well, or if they just have to get approval of the fiscal court, that's fine that's fine too.
Okay, no, I understand. Sorry about that. The cap on health departments across the state is 10%. Again, we're at 2.25, so we're nowhere near that, nor do we need to be that. I think it's Senate Bill 5 that passed the legislature last year that involves the fiscal court members to make the deciding factor for public health taxing districts. So that is true.
So you'll have to come back to fiscal court anytime you want to raise your taxes. We'd have to approve it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, there was a question I think was posed by Master Coomer, who's chairman of the Building and Property. If we set this tax, when it gets into the maintenance of the building, obviously, I know Barron County owns the building, but if we set this tax to where we have extra funds, tapping into those funds for, just say a pump goes out, would you be willing to work with us as far as getting that replaced, out of this taxing funds?
Yeah, most definitely. And that's another advantage to having the tax rate just a smidge above what the contribution rate is to the health department. Because if you have to, have any large purchases, replacing windows, HVAC, roofs, and things of that nature, it could come from that taxing district to help offset the expenses. That way you've got some funds there to do that, and it does not pull from your general fund.
Okay, very good. Very good. Any other questions for Matt? Well, Matt, I greatly appreciate you being on and explaining that. And I have Matt's number. Any of you guys would like to call him, talk to him. We have a list of all board members of the local health department. I'm actually a voting member of the local health department as well. So, again, if you want to reach out to these folks, talk to them, talk to the employees, whoever you want to talk to. I feel like it's time. And been the other meetings that we've had this morning, it may help us out a little bit, but the most important thing there is relieving some of that property tax to help compensate. I think that's important. Again, we're asking for the community to buy in. We need to start with our adjustments first. Okay, Jeff, that's all I have.
Okay, Dennis, are you on? He's our maintenance supervisor of the county. Dennis?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Can you update where we're at on, I know since me and Tim and Carl's on the property committee the last couple of years, I know we spent, quite a bit of money up there. Where are we at right now on, and I know that's just, how's the building? What do you see? HVAC, plumbing, just where are we at on it? Are you comfortable where we're standing? Everything seemed to be solid right now as far as for a 30-year building now, 25?
we still have some water issues in that base of the area, and we never have finished our the concreting of the sidewalk before we dug in the last time. Other than that, we've done replaced all the HVAC systems up there. Unless it's, I don't know how much they use their elevator or what the status on that. I know they have a little bit of issues with it from time to time, but other than that, that's all I really know about the building. We've done a lot of repair this last year on the roofing, and I have not heard of any more leakage there. So that's more of that meeting room and stuff, training area they had in the basement, still getting some moisture in there is the biggest issue I think they have.
Okay, I was just wondering if we've seen any predictions of possibly a high price situation going on here in the before our next budget. You don't foresee anything major there then?
I don't know of anything major, no.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in and sharing that. I just wanted to see where we were on the maintenance end on that. Judge, when are we looking at wanting to try to get this pushed in on this tax? If it goes through our committee, how quickly are we talking about for this next coming tax bracket? Is that what we're saying?
That's correct. We need to start on that immediately, because I know we have some advertising that has to do. But now Sherry, she's very well rehearsed on what needs to be done there with her experience. But we need to move forward with that quickly. Obviously, we need to work with DLG to let them know our plans. Sherry, if you have anything you would like to add to that, what we need to do. Can't hear you, Sherry.
Sorry.
There you go.
It has been a while since fiscal court has established a taxing district. We'll have to work with our Department for Local Government. Just like Judge Hale said, there are advertising requirements, ordinance preparations, and certain notices that we have to give in order to make it effective on a certain date. So we'll have to pursue that information from DLG prior to proceeding.
Okay, thank you. I need to hear, I know I think he said last January, we did have all got together on our committee, and Matt came up and shared all of the information. And I think each committee member was there. Billy, you and Mark got any comments on this? And of course, Carl and Tim are on here also, but you all were there with us last year when they presented their presentation.
I don't have any.
Carl?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Do you have any comments on that for our committee?
The only comment I have would be, just like Judge Hale said a minute ago, in the earlier meeting, this might be an opportunity to give a tax break to all the people off their new taxing district, and then give a break on their rates and raise some funds for that other project as well. Just a thought.
Mark, your comment, please.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, because in essence, in total, the taxes won't be raised. We're going to give a break on the property taxes, the way I understand it. Whatever percentage we need for this taxing district for the health department, that will be offset by a reduction in the property taxes. So it should be a zero effect.
And again, Department of Local Government will tell us what we can do. It may be this 2021, we can only lower 0.4%, and then the next year we can do 0.4%. Or we may be able to do it all. I'm not sure. They may have criteria we have to follow, but we'll find out to make for sure.
Okay.
So he's proposing the 2.5. Of course, there is, it could not be that. It can be the 2.25. So Mark, you and Billy, were you thinking on the 2.5 or the 2.25? We're already going to be under what most of the average on the other counties is what he's saying, but his proposal is 2.5. We don't have to go with that, or we can go with that, or we can go 2.25.
I think we ought to go with his suggestion on it.
You want to make that in a motion?
Yes, I can make that in the motion.
Okay, so your motion is 2.5.
Yes.
I will go ahead and second that motion for a 2.5% on the, do I have all in favor say aye? I say aye.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Okay, so that motion carries. We'll be bringing that, of course, on our committee line item to the whole fiscal court next Tuesday.
Jeff, this is Carl. Could you have the amount of revenue that would produce at that rate and at the 2.25 rate as well before we have our meeting on Tuesday?
Yes, we will get the right office person to get that information so I can do that in our motion next Tuesday. Thank you, Carl. That would be some numbers to look at.
Okay.
Carl, do you want that at the current rate that we're at now?
Well, it's a 2.5 rate, the amount of revenue it produced for the health department, what I'm talking about, not for the whole county, the health department.
Okay.
Even you might put a 2% rate as well as a 2.75 rate. You might just give us a broad range.
Well, why don't we do it from 2 to 2.25 and then 2.5? We'll just do three items to look at there, three numbers. Okay.
Just give us some more information.
Sounds good.
As well as I don't know, you said we contributed 600 and some thousand this past.
678 is what
Okay.
in the budget.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all that's on that. So we're going to go to the next line item is second quarter budget report, and appreciate the papers that we got from Jenny of giving us a sneaky peek of the first 6 months. We can go down through these, Judge, if you got, if you wanted to, or do you want to?
Whatever you guys want to do. Tracy has it to where he can put it on as a presentation if you want to. I think all of you should have a copy of it. Should have got a copy of it. So this is ending second quarter.
Quick question on that, Jeff. Were if any of these departments made any budget adjustments to reduce another line item to make a difference in their the personnel? Has anybody made any adjustments that way? Judge, do you know?
I just know that
I'm just saying the jail. Did the jail made any adjustments in their budget other places to decrease their budget in other areas to make up for their increase in payroll?
Well, I mean, we've got ended second quarter, but I think Jailer Bennett's on here if you want him to give a comment on it.
That's the only question I have. If he's made budget adjustments to take care of his overrun on his payroll budget. That's the only question I have.
Go ahead, Jailer Bennett, if you'd like to.
I don't have the paper that you got, Squire Dickerson.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what it is. There haven't been any movement from line item to line item at this time.
Okay. All right. That's my question. You answered my question. Thank you.
I would say, Jailer Bennett, I noticed on the you're going to be getting like 15,000 and 129 on the CARES money for overtime. Have you got that? I guess it says getting it. So when will you be getting that? And Jenny may be able to answer that.
I think that'd be a Jenny question.
Jenny, are you?
Yes, I'm here. That has to go for the second reading in this court on the 19th, and then it will be added.
Okay. Is Mark, you and Billy got any questions? I'll be honest, I had been this weekend, my daughter-in-law, we had her first grandson born this weekend, so I haven't had time to really focus in on these numbers big time. Do y'all have any comments on the first 6 months? I know we can meet anytime and go over it a little bit more in detail if you all want to. But do you have any comments, Mark?
Well, there are, as we look at this, there are some comments that's been put in there. For example, since we're talking about the jail, you mentioned the CARES money that they'll be getting. Then also on here, it says budget amendments for reimbursement, $54,865. So basically, looks like there'll be about $25,308 over budget, but has enough in reserves for transfers to cover it. So it would appear to me there's some adjustments being made.
Well, I've seen that in maybe all the line
Right.
items down here in. I would say one thing, and I don't know the department heads that are on, and even in Aaron, I know he's on. I talked with actually over the weekend another county official that in their county. I mean, with these numbers, the 15,129, I guess Aaron created that or not, but that's nothing compared to the county of what they put back in the jail on their county. So I don't know if some reason or another they're doing something different or lost a lot, or so I want to make sure that all department heads are making sure they're giving all the information for Jenny and the judge for their extra during this pandemic. So that just making sure, because if you all don't tell them, I'm sure there's nobody else that's going to know. So it'll be your loss if you don't turn in all your information. We don't want to take advantage, but we do want to make sure that we get you all the money that you all deserve, that's this pandemic has cost you in your budget.
So when you look at that, obviously that budget amendment for reimbursement, that $54,865 will come from commissary to reimburse the jail, Master Bowman, that you were talking about.
Right.
Again, still 25,380 over, 308 over, but as Jenny and I have talked, we can transfer some money from reserves within the budget, the jail budget itself, to cover that. So that's a good thing. That means we're not having to give the jail any money. That's a good thing. The one thing I want to caution, and Jailer Bennett can comment on this if he wants to, but this, as far as being transparent. First quarter, we had 791 hours of overtime. Second quarter, we had 971 hours of overtime. The first pay period of third quarter, we have 373 hours. So the more of that overtime that's being worked, the more it's going to cut into, we have to start giving the jail more money. So that's the only caution I'm going to throw here is looking at that overtime. That's going to create more debt. So I think that's one thing that we need to keep an eye on, and I'll send those copies to you. And this is something that, hey, Nancy keeps up with, Jenny keeps up with, we talk about. But when we see that could potentially be a problem within that budget.
Well, Judge, in your defense also, and I agree, because our committee, I mean, the overtime in not just the jail, but in some of the other department is where we're seeing big time numbers that are really hurting their budget, lack of words. And if we can start working on that overtime, yes, that's going to help big time. And we, not just you, but the whole committee has challenged the department heads. Let's work on that overtime numbers, because that's what's the really affecting some of the departments' numbers is that overtime. And And you remember, we're coming back in here July to set another budget and pass it. And if we don't see numbers on the overtime, I'm just talking on myself, and I'm sure Mark and Billy's going to agree too. If we can't see these numbers look better, then we're going to be asking you why in July or when we start meeting in May. So it's not just the judge that's putting pressure on you. I think our committee, we're behind the judge on what he's saying there. The overtime is big numbers in some departments. Any other questions on what was presented? And again, I appreciate Jenny putting these out to us, and it's really simple to read and comprehend what's going on. And again, I realize the pandemic, and department heads, I realize and appreciate all the work that you're doing and dealing with that. And hopefully it's going to end soon. And again, turn in anything that's costing you money on your budget, and let's see what we can do and get that turned into the state.
Jeff?
Yes.
Sort of along the same lines, your comment, the end of fiscal year ends June the 30th. So there's approximately 5.5 months or so. If, and I'm speaking to the department heads now, if there are adjustments you need to make to meet your budget for the year, now's the time to do that. Mm-hmm. You have 5.5 months. You have more opportunity to do that in 5.5 months rather than waiting till the last month and you suddenly look at it and you're over budget X amount. I'd encourage, each one of you to continue to look at that on a monthly basis and to make adjustments on a monthly basis.
Yeah, I agree with that. And being an owner of a company, and I think I brought this up when we talked a few months ago on this overtime. I mean, our employees want it. They like the overtime, but like you said, they've got 5.5 months here. It's going to get some people mad. You may even lose somebody, but you're killing yourself in this budget with this overtime. I mean, it's just, I don't know what else to say other than, I don't think the judge has to be just the one hounding this. Me, Mark, and Billy, we're telling the department heads, yes, let's see if we can see these numbers. If they don't go down, then I don't, when you present the budget back to us again, we're going to have to look at that. And it's just going to be hard to pass some budgets when we're seeing the management on overtime. But that's, any other comments on the 6 months look?
Just make sure you guys see that each one where the overtime is going back into, such as the clerk's office, the sheriff's office. And then if you go up to and I want Jenny maybe to explain a little more on that for the treasurers. Obviously we had to pay out Denny when she left during this year. So Jenny, if you want to explain that a little more, just for transparency, please.
Yes. So when Denny left, she had some accumulated vacation time, and that was not figured into the budget whenever the budget was created. So that put us over like 17,500. As it is now, if we continue, there's really nothing that's going to change actually on the treasurer's pay. So the books will show that at the end of the year will be 19,500 over budget, which if you take that 17,500 off of there, it puts it at 1,915 over budget. And that would reflect the increase when I took over this position. So in my pay. So we can fix that over budget within the budget as well. So that's just a clarification on those numbers.
Okay, thank you for that. And you did, we kind of knew that going in whenever the switch over our committee. I'm sure the other department heads, if they see this, you know, they would probably be questioning that, but we were aware of Denny and the time that she had. And we just didn't at the budget time catch quite the numbers it was going to be. So thank you for presenting that reason. That looks, the numbers kind of are a little deceiving when you look at it there, if you don't know the full picture. Any other questions on the report? Okay, this is just informational. There's no action or anything there. We were just conversational. So we're going to go on over to the purchase of a sheriff's vehicle. And I think everybody got all the information printed out. I'll put the sheriff on if you want to just give us what you're wanting to purchase here.
Yes, sir, Squire. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be at the committee this morning. Good morning to all. What this is obviously we're trying to plan ahead as we've talked about before. And this is the bid specs and total on a Chevrolet 2021. I have to start early because even if it was ordered today, delivery would be the last of May, and I haven't called this morning, but possibly even June. So I've got to start early on something of this nature. So that's why I was bringing it before the committee. So if we can get approval to move on and I can submit this order to Chevrolet, then we would, estimated delivery would be late May or early June.
And okay, let me make sure we got this. If the total that I have is the total sale price of $39,500, is that correct? Sure.
I believe that's correct. That was the paperwork that I got from the state bid dealership in Louisville. Obviously, they went through a change in body style for the 2021, and as you guys are aware of, many increases in several things, not just automobiles, but equipment in general. So yes, sir, that did reflect a price increase from the years past.
Okay, I had one other question on, I know that's what's going to get the vehicle here. What does it generally take money wise after it gets here to get it lettered and whatever equipment, just a rough number of that dollar that I'm not aware of that it costs to get something new or a used one in here back to ready to go for you? What's that number?
Rough number, Squire, on a brand new one, if we don't have anything that we can reuse, it's somewhere around $5,200 to $5,300. That's radio decals, console, siren box, light switch box, lights, push bar. I may be leaving out some things, screen divider. Now, most recently, I know we spoke about two used vehicles that we got, and we were able to virtually equip those vehicles for about, I think, less than $1,800 because we didn't have to put a screen divider in one of them. We only had to stripe, I think, one or two. I'd have to get down in the weeds on that, but to answer your question specifically, it's somewhere around $5,200 to equip a brand new, just factory vehicle.
Okay, well, thank you. I was just wondering for informational reasons. Mark, you and Billy got any questions for the sheriff before we vote on, or we can, I'll just make a motion.
Well, I'm just going to ask the question. I'm sure that, all this is well within your budget, isn't it, Sheriff? Okay.
I've checked with the treasurer and the judge, and I think there's adequate funds to take care of this. We've talked about this in past weeks. So I believe that's correct. Yes, sir.
That is a budgeted item. We actually budgeted a new car this time. And keep in mind, we can utilize those alcohol monies, which we have adequate money there to buy this new car. So,
Squire, if I can interject here, just something
Sure,
that
go ahead.
we skipped out on last year just because our situation changed, obviously with the COVID virus. With our ability to put in some used vehicles in the program and also some new, we are going to rotate out for used car sales, if I can say that, if I could deem it that way. We have some vehicles which we're going to attempt to sell sometime in the early spring, maybe late April, early May, to try to recoup some funds out of those, that budget line item for renewals and repairs. So obviously they're used vehicles. We make no bones about that. But I believe they're somewhere between 4 and 6. I don't have the count in front of me. But just to give that notation there, that we're trying to work hard to recoup a little monies from the used vehicles that we're getting rid of in order to gain a little ground there.
Okay, so will this probably, if we can get this vehicle in and ordered in, will you be looking at anything till the next budget on possible, unless something major happens with the vehicle? Are you going to be in pretty good shape till July 1st if we can get this one in for you?
Squire, if everything runs on track, you're correct. Now, for the next budget year, again, I emphasize the way you outlined it. If nothing else kind of surprises us, so to speak.
Right, and that happens.
Yes, sir. We've got on the slate for planning. Again, I know Squire Bowman and I have talked about this before. Projections, what we have planned for the 6 months, year and a half, whatever. In the July budget, I guess that would be the 21-22 budget year, I suppose. We probably need to plan on a couple of more used vehicles because I have some school resource people that are driving some vehicles that have several thousand miles on them. So that might be a project that we look at for the 21-22 budget year.
Okay.
Also.
Well, I'm gonna go on and make a motion for $39,500 for the purchase of a new 2021 Chevrolet Tahoe, 4-wheel drive, 4-door.
I'll second that, Jeff.
Second, Mark. All in favor, aye, and I say aye. Mark.
I say aye.
Billy.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. We'll go on to authorize new bank accounts. Judge?
Yeah, I'm gonna yield to Jenny on the bank accounts.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you all are aware that we have to move to a new software this year because our old software has no more support. And so the new software that we're having to move to recommends splitting up the general fund. And right now we have included in the general fund is the road fund, the jail fund, rec department, just a bunch of different funds are all included in our general fund. And in order to be able to balance effectively, we need to split up some of those accounts. And so there's 6 accounts that we're asking to be split out of the general fund, and that would be the road fund, jail fund, federal grants fund, rec department, Hinesville Cemetery, and the ABC fund. Basically, I would do a reconciliation and just see the money that is in each separate account and use those funds to split that up and open the new accounts. So really there would be no extra money put into it. It's just the money that's already within those funds will be split out into separate funds.
Mark, you and Billy got any questions for her on that, on the new bank accounts?
Jenny, probably, that'll be a benefit to you too, won't it? That'll make it clear.
Yeah. A lot better. A lot
I would
easier.
think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go on and we'll present this to court. I'll go and make a motion that we can let Jenny have the authorization, or the staff up there have the authorization of a new bank accounts. I'll make that in as a motion.
Second.
Second by Billy. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. We'll bring that, Sherry will put that on our committee's report and bring that for the physical court. Recap a little bit, going backwards, purchase of sheriff's vehicle, $39,500. We looked over the second quarter budget, just informational only. Nothing to present there to the court other than if they have any comments on that. And then health department, taxing district, we will get numbers of 2.25 and numbers, well, 2.00, 2.25 and 2.5, and bring that before the court as a recommendation of a new taxing district. So that's all that I have, and I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Have a good day. We're adjourned.